We could be staring down a global financial crisis with the Fed raising rates faster and harder than they ever have in any time in history. The dollar strengthening like no tomorrow. Something is bound to break in that system, and we might have found that something. That could be Credit Suisse ready to collapse with lots of news and headlight on them right now. And the CEO came out and said that they are currently at a critical moment, which instills nothing of any sort of confidence at all. If you went to your friend and asked them how their life's going, and they said, well, I'm at a critical moment, you'd probably think, what's wrong? And because of all this press and views on Credit Suisse, Credit Susie, however you want to say it, I heard it said both ways. They are running the routes. They're doing everything to try and calm people down, like their CEO going to executives, saying right here, his CEO executive spent the weekend reassuring large clients, counterparties, and investors about its liquidity and capital position, from the Financial Times. And, could we think of another company that was kind of in a similar situation that did a very similar thing? That could be the Lehman Brothers, and we could be looking at a Lehman moment with this giant, massive financial institution about ready to collapse. And if all the warning signs weren't enough that something wrong is going on here, we got the exact sign that we needed to cement this and know that we are in a terrible position, and Credit Suisse might be in a massively bad position. And that's Jim Cramer saying that Credit Suisse is doing quite well and it's going to be a great acquisition for somebody.
You keep talking about a Lehman moment. I keep thinking you're finally going to be able to get a bank merger.
Yeah.
And whoever gets Credit Suisse is going to do quite well if you can cordon off those losses, because, boy, that is some great franchise.
So if you needed a truly foolproof method to say that something terrible is going to happen with Credit Suisse or Credit Susie, however you want to say it, Jim Cramer saying that it's a great franchise and it's not another Lehman Brothers moment or Bear Stearns moment, and that nothing's wrong. That exactly is what we got here. It is impressive how absolutely consistently Jim Cramer has been dead wrong with everything. Almost every stock or company that he says is a great company tanks after he says it. If he says something is terrible, it skyrockets. And when he says something like this, he has actually already done this before in 2008 with Bear Stearns, where you can see on March 11th, 2008, Jim Cramer said to his viewers, Bear Stearns is fine, do not take your money out. And then a week later, it was bankrupt. So he's already been down this route of making these predictions, saying these companies are fine, and then very shortly after, they go bankrupt. The one sign we needed, Jim Cramer saying that Credit Suisse is fine, and that basically seals the deal that they're gonna collapse. And talking about this like another Lehman Brothers moment, in Lehman Brothers had $600 billion in assets when they crashed and took the economy with them. Now we're staring at 2,800 billion, or $2.8 trillion is what Credit Suisse and Deutsche Bank has in AUM, which is 4.6 times more. And we already know Credit Suisse, Suisse is at a critical moment, said the CEO, which is not something you want to hear. So if a $600 billion Lehman Brothers moment was what the financial crisis happened and how terrible that was, a $2.8 trillion in two different companies that are in danger is a massive upstep and would have way more impact. Not to even mention, both of these companies' stock prices have been plummeting. They're not doing good. It's basically screaming that something is going wrong, and people are not excited to be with these companies. They're not excited for what's going on and are actually terrified of what's going on. And even this chart here shows that same thing. Credit Suisse CDs spreads are at a 14-year high. They're basically, I think they already spiked. And you can see right here, they spiked already to massive highs. It is, people are terrified of what's going to happen and trying to protect themselves against this. You can see this says CDs spiked again today. All-time high surpassing 2008. One-year contract went vertical, up 4.4% in a single day. So people are terrified that this institution is about to collapse, and they alone have 1.6 trillion of the 2.8 trillion from both these companies. So they have a lot of money. If they fall, they could absolutely devastate the economy. Both these companies are actually considered too big to fail. They have ratings on them that say that they should be too big to fail. So if something goes wrong, the governments are probably going to try to bail them out as best that they can to prevent the fallout from really spreading. We've seen this happen in crypto even this year, where Celsius went bankrupt, their loans went bad, their debt went bad, companies connected to them ended up collapsing too. Voyager went down. An overseas like Japan Korean exchange went down. Tons of exchanges and companies collapsed because there is no person to bail out the crypto industry. When something goes wrong, it goes wrong and you got to ride it out. So in this though, we have a buyer of last resort, a lender of last resort. That's the Fed, that's the governments, and they will try their best to make sure the contagion isn't so bad. But at both these companies at $2.8 trillion that they both have, it's still going to feel bad. It's not going to be fun, even if they do successfully bail them out. And if this alone, these two companies on the verge of collapse, wasn't bad enough, we also have China and their real estate sector about ready to collapse, which obviously the second biggest economy in the world. It's going to have ripple effects, and their GDP is 30% made up of their real estate. So we have China real estate collapsing, the real estate market crashing and burning in China. We have Credit Suisse crashing and burning, Deutsche Bank about ready to collapse. All of these things coming together at the same exact time spells disaster. And Jim Cramer saying that everything is fine is just the cherry on top to cement that everything is going to collapse. That's gonna do it for this video, guys. As always, don't forget to smash the like button and subscribe. We're on the road to 1,000 subscribers. I'll see you guys in my next video.